Good afternoon to you and good evening, everybody, for these two-game set at Povich Field. Bethesda Big Train taking on the DC Grays for a twilight doubleheader, and a pleasant good evening to whoever may be. Tyler Gallo and Dylan Spilko here with you today on Big Train TV. Dylan, it's a pleasure to be here with you as the DC Grays, who are tonight's home team, take on, actually the first game's home team, take on the Bethesda Big Train to lead things off. Dylan, how you doing today?
Tyler, you know, it's great to be back. I was here for one game early in the season, and it was so much fun, I decided to come back for another few innings today. So, should have a good doubleheader here today. Perfect weather, and I'm ready to get this one going.
Right, and so leading things off for the Big Train will be Riley Johnson against starting pitcher Jake Davidson. Of course, Ben Bobek will be with us later tonight. He's assuming PA announcer duties, at least for the first couple of innings tonight until Rich gets here, and then he'll be back in here with us. But Big Train looking to take on their home. They're at home today, but not technically at home. As they get the throw down, and Jake Davidson ready to go this season. Davidson's had a pretty rough year, 2-5, 8.16 ERA, and he's walked more than he struck out, 24 walks to 14 strikeouts, and 28 2/3 innings. And leading things off is the spark plug at the top of the order, Riley Johnson, as we take a look at the Big Train lineup right now. We start things off, and there's how they line up. Johnson, Cohn, Thomas, Nip, Alderman, Schmalewski, and Alderman's not in the lineup tonight, so that's the incorrect one. That was last night's lineup. So, but the lineup is Johnson, Foster, Thomas, Nip, Schmalewski, Doyle, Torres, Martin, Neareye. And the first pitch to Riley Johnson is taken a little bit low, and we're underway here. Big Train. This is technically the second game of this will be their home finale. It's really sped up on us as the breaking ball is low, ball 2. And tomorrow's game in tomorrow's game in Alexandria will be the regular season finale. It's crazy how fast this season moved, but we're ready to bring you the playoffs as well. 2-0, just outside again. It's 3-0.
And you said it, Tyler. I mean, this season has absolutely flown by. It feels like we just started.
Right. It feels like it's still early on in the season, but nope, it's late. And DC Grays, of course, we'll get to their lineup in a little bit, as there is strike one, and it's 3-1 here to Riley Johnson. So Johnson this season, I mean, what have you seen from him? I've been really impressed with how he's played both in the field and at the dish today, Dylan.
Well, he's been a really good contact hitter recently, and he's done just as what he did on this first at-bat, and he's gotten really favorable counts, and it's clearly benefiting him because if the Big Train can get some guys on base early on, you'll get results like you saw yesterday when they beat the Thunderbolts 14-1.
Correct. The walk of life right there. Gets to first base on the leadoff walk, and here's Darius Foster, a guy that's no stranger to that as well. A guy that knows when to put the ball in play and how to get on base. Sun is high in the sky at this 4:30 start. First pitch was at 4:30, if you can believe that. And 4:30, here's the pitch from Davidson, and it's 1-0.
And last time I was on the broadcast, Tyler, I had a prediction of Foster playing very well. He did end up having a couple RBIs in that game, but today I'm going to go with Keith Torres.
All right.
I think it's going to be Keith, the RBI getter today.
Well, he's done that quite a bit in these last couple of games as well. The all-star Keith Torres. Foster an all-star in his own right as well. And we'll see if, Foster can continue his torrid pace. He had a triple a couple nights ago and knows how to put the ball in play. Gave it a charge, nearly a home run in Alexandria. Gets away, and Johnson will amble on down to second. He is in scoring position here for Darius Foster. So Keith Torres, the flying Hawaiian, I'm sure he'll chomp down on one of his signature dogs today. That's a pass ball for the catcher, Burt Camper. No Scott Bandura in center field today. It's Kenny Bell. 2-0 count now to Darius Foster. Again inside and called a strike. Ooh. Mitch Evans, the home plate umpire. Guy that has a very inconsistent strike zone. We know that. I believe he was the umpire a couple weeks ago that I voiced my displeasure very loud to. It's okay, though. Foster takes just a bit outside again, and the count goes 3-1.
This is a perfect opportunity for Foster to take a swing. Probably going to get a friendly pitch right somewhat down the middle of the plate. 3-1, runner on second, no outs to start this game. I'd give him the green light on this pitch.
Right, and it's not like Davidson's exactly lighting the world on fire right now. He's missing is he does take a hack there and fouls it off, and the count runs full.
Davidson's struggled with his control just about 10 pitches into this game. Hasn't really fooled any of the Bethesda batters so far, and just Johnson and Foster at the plate, but such a favorable on-base situation early on for the Big Train.
Right, and you're not going to get these guys to chase too often. These are the two of the best on-base guys, and you want them at the top of the lineup. Foster bounces one foul, and good fielding play by Sam Bender along the first base side. It's a pretty light crowd, but I mean it's a 4:30 start, so not too big of a deal. I'm sure more will filter in as the day goes along. 4:30 start time today. Very early. The field is almost engulfed entirely in the sun with the rare shadows along the outfield border. Johnson dancing off second pitch to Foster is taken outside, ball 4, and that's back-to-back walks to lead things off, and Matt Thomas is in prime position to drive these guys in.
Well, that's exactly what you want your first 2 batters of the game to do, get on base any way they can. So the Big Train draw 2 straight walks, and it's a perfect RBI opportunity for one of the best hitters on this team.
Right, Matt Thomas, maybe, deserving of an all-star appearance this year, but was snubbed from the game. And you can't have an entire Big Train roster on the team. They had a bunch of catchers and outfielders, so Thomas, I guess the odd man out is that sails way up high for ball 1. Thomas has had an all-star caliber season, though, nonetheless. Rocco Pepe, of course, wasn't named to the all-star team either, but he's been dealing with an ailment over the past week or so. So you can understand why he wasn't in the game, but very much deserving. Pitch to 1-0. Thomas way up high, 2-0. And Davidson, I don't know if he's sweating a little too much, and good job by Reggie Terry to go out there and talk to him. He's just not been hitting the zone whatsoever.
Yeah, that's now 3 straight batters that have gotten ahead with 2 balls in their favor. So this is going to be a tough hole for the Grays to get out of early on.
Right, and it's just self-inflicted wounds, and that's really what the biggest thing, because as they always say, walks come back to haunt. I mean, I was talking to Luke Baker about his start a couple of nights ago in Gaithersburg, and he said it's the walks, man. The walks always come back to haunt. And, he pitched pretty well, pretty solidly in his start in Gaithersburg, but it was the walks that really just messed his day up. So we'll see if that afflicts Davidson here in this game. Terry, the slow march back to the dugout. A guy that, despite, the team struggling, he's gotten some good. I mean, the Grays have always played the Big Train tough in every game except for the odd mercy rule. 2-0 now. There's inside. So it's a shame that Rocco Pepe isn't in the lineup tonight because DC is the home team, and he's hit all of his home runs in DC when they were the home team. So we'll see if I don't think Pepe's available off the bench tonight. He was taking some infield practice. So here's the 3-0 now to Thomas. Way up high, and that is ball 4. And that's 3 consecutive walks to start the game for Jake Davidson. I mean, we know he's got control issues this season. 24 walks and now 27 to 14 strikeouts. Really just not even coming close. And Grant Knipp, the guy who unloaded on a baseball yesterday to seal the deal, 14-1, the witching run, sent it into the forest, up into the forest really far, has a chance here to do just that with the bases loaded.
And if you're manager Sal Colangelo, I don't know who else you would want up than
absolutely.
Grant Knipp right now. He's probably the hottest bat on this Big Train team. Bases loaded, no outs. Going to be a dangerous chance.
He's been on one heck of a heater this week. First pitch to him is fouled and way out of play. 0-1. Big Train have 0 hits, but they have the bases loaded with nobody out. Davidson really just missing right now. But gets that one in the zone and see if he, maybe lays one in there like last night. The pitcher did that, a cookie for Grant to eat as he bounces one towards third, fielded by Smith. He'll tag Foster out in the baseline and fire to first in time for an unorthodox double play. So a run does come in to score, but that's a 5U3 double play turned. And there's just a runner on second now, and just like that, there's 2 outs.
And you can look at that play and say, well, the Big Train didn't do enough. They had bases loaded with no outs. However, they still get a run across in the top of the first inning. Excuse me, I forgot they're the away team today. So they still get a run in the top of the first, and whenever you get a run this early on, it immediately gives you some kind of momentum, no matter how you get the runs.
Right. When the Big Train score first this year, they generally win the game. That's the thing is. Nolan Schmalewski takes the first pitch, strike 0-1. Schmalewski's had a sneaky good year as well. I mean, everybody. You'd be hard pressed to find someone on this team that hasn't had a good year at the plate, that has played all year. I mean, a couple of guys have come in late and struggled a little bit, but man, has Schmalewski been clutch for this team as well. 0-1 to him, and a wheel spinorama there for Jake Davidson. Checks on Thomas. No one covering second, though. Buford, the closest guy there at short. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball or off speed, taken just a bit outside, 1-1. 1-1 the count. 1-0 the score, Big Train. They're the away team in this game if you're wondering why they're batting first. Pitch right down the pipe for strike 2. 1-2. Right down Westlake Drive. This is where we're currently at. 1-2 count. We'll see what the deal is here with Sean Ewell. Does have some room to work with, Davidson. Pitch bounced again towards second, slowly hit. And the first in time on the play is Vandenberg for out number 3. So an inning that looked like spelled trouble really just doesn't spell trouble at all. 1 run across the Big Train, load the bases, but a double play ends that threat. We'll be back here on Big Train TV. Back here on Big Train TV, and the home team DC Grays lead off, and they're going to face off against Jake Eddington, or Edge as he's known to the coaches. So this year, he's had a solid season. The ERA just doesn't show that. He had one 7-run blow-up outing in his first. That was only 1 inning, but he's 0-2, 6.75 ERA, 31 strikeouts, 13 walks in 21 and a third innings. And his first pitch is low, ball 1 to Kyle Schmalewski, the leadoff hitter, the right fielder tonight. Big Train lead at 1-0 after they got a run on a double play. No RBI, though, for Grant Knipp on that play. 1-0 the count. Skips low. 2-0.
And you talk about Eddington. He's only given up 2 runs or less in 4 of his 6 appearances this season. And you said it before. He had he gave up 7 runs early on in the season, which kind of put some bad weight on his ERA, one could say. However, I mean, he's really improved recently. And he's only gotten better as the season has gone along, and the runs may not show for it, but you can just tell his poise has gotten much better.
Right, and he had that one a couple nights ago where it was rough, where he allowed those 6 runs, really the only runs of the game in that one for the other side. So that runs away from Neareye, and it's 3-1. Eddington, you know, that pitch we just saw where he got Schmalewski to go around on the half swing really shows how good he has been this year. Donovan Freyer is due up next. Guy we saw on the mound, Freyer out of Shorter College, though. Schmalewski laces one into the gap. That might fall in, and Torres can't get to it. And that is a leadoff single for Kyle Schmalewski. He is aboard with nobody out for Donovan Freyer.
That was a really nice job by Schmalewski. Got ahead 3-1 in the count, and obviously if Jake Eddington's behind, it's not going to be easy for him to play catch-up when these batters get a good count ahead of him. So that was a nice piece of hitting, a nice little blooper towards center. Just how you want to start after giving up a run in the top of the first.
Right, really placed that into no man's land in the first hit of the afternoon. Donovan Freyer, bat second. We saw him, last time we saw him, he was giving up a game-tying home run to Brady Gump. Squares to bunt, good location and idea, but just foul, and it's 0-1. Freyer out of Shorter College. I believe we found that was in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to check that one more time. I'm probably wrong on that. And 0-1 here to him, though, on the missed bunt. A guy that can both pitch and hit. We saw him out of the bullpen, like I said, as that ball just gets out of the mitt on the pickoff throw to Grant Nip. Nip playing first base. We've seen him at catcher as well this year. I think the craziest position we've seen, though, is Brady Gump at third. Shorter college. Freyer. Here's the pitch from Eddington. Inside half of the plate, and it's quickly 0-2. Very hot one here at Povich Field. It says 86 degrees on the scoreboard. I find that hard to believe. But welcome to the DC area in summer. It is in Georgia. I was correct. 0-2. Freyer swings and misses for strike 3, and that's strikeout number 1 for Jake Eddington today. Guy that is a strikeout artist on this squad, and up comes Patrick Vandenberg.
And you see the two differences between those first two at-bats. Eddington fell behind in that first at-bat, gave up a hit on a 3-1 count, comes back, throws 2 quick strikes, and then gets the strikeout. It's just, you see the two sides of Jake Eddington right out of the gate.
Really, and it's been a tale of two halves, I guess, or, 6 starts versus 1 start. He's had 6 pretty good starts and 1 pretty bad start. I believe it's 6 or 7 total starts he's had this year. But he is 0-2, has yet to get that first win. He's got those sleeves rolled up a little bit today. It's pretty hot out, Jake. I don't blame you. 0-1 to Vandenberg. Up the middle, that's going to fall in front of the center fielder Johnson. Good job deking, though, for Schmalewski to stop him from going to third. And there's 2 hits here, as up comes Burt Camper.
So now Eddington gives up 2 hits out of the first 3 batters he faced. It's important to see how he responds right now because he's still nursing a 1-run lead so early in this game, so his confidence should remain pretty high as of right now, but he definitely wants to bounce back after giving up 2 quick hits.
So it says 84, feels like 87 though right now. The real feel, as up comes Burt Camper, and he's got to be not afraid of getting a ground ball here, or getting that ground ball pitch, because he's got tremendous fielders behind him in Martin and Torres. As a swing and a foul tip there from Burt Camper. It's 0-1. And we've just seen how great the defense up the middle has been for the big train. Keith Torres just knows how to flag the balls down. And Martin really looks like an old pro there at second base.
And yesterday, Torres, you speak of Torres' defensive game, he had a play yesterday where a ball was hit deep towards the left side of the shortstop area, technically the right side if you're looking at where Torres is facing. And he almost had a fadeaway throw back to first, which was astonishingly close for how difficult of a play it would have been to make.
It was a long and slow throw that really, it was a miracle that he got to the ball. I mean, just shows how good of a player he is up the middle, and a good eye in the box as well. The eye carries over to the field for Keith Torres. 0-1 here to Burt Camper, the catcher, the pitch. Outside, strike 2. We know Mitch Evans has a very wide strike zone. But also inconsistent. Nothing in 2 here, right where he wants him. Cam Buford, the hitter, due up next, barring a double play. Oh, that was close. I think that was virtually the same location on the 0-2. Right down Westlake Drive again, but called a ball, and it's 1-2. Good thing they can't hear us up here. One more time, Eddington. Looks back at Schmalewski at second. Again, long hold. Here's the pitch. Bounce foul. Heads up. There's a plethora of big train interns down by the dugout, and they had to dive out of the way of that ball. Dylan Spilko, though, doesn't. Caught one wedged between his neck and shoulder.
Still the best moment of the season.
That was
off-field moment.
Oh, yeah, Sports Center top 10 moment for Dylan Spilko.
They somehow didn't give me a shout when I tagged him on Twitter.
You deserved it. 1-2 here from Eddington, though. The pitch to Camper. Runner goes, and he went around for strike 3, so they don't even throw down, but that is strikeout number 2 for Jake Eddington. And 2 outs, he's got a chance to get out of this inning unscathed.
So now that we've gone hit, strikeout, we've really seen both sides of Jake Eddington.
Right.
If we're still going at this rate, this would end up being a hit, but that last at bat, Eddington once again got ahead of the count. So clearly, if Eddington's able to get ahead in the count, he's got the advantage from the mound.
Exactly. Cam Buford, a guy that was named CRCBL Offensive Player of the Week a few weeks ago, batted .412 in a single week as it's inside ball 1, and Deja vu all over again. He's behind in the count to lead things off here. Eddington, the stuff is there though. We know how we've seen his fastball ranging up around 93, 95. Really been zipping it. Here's the 1-0. Zips that one just up high. So Dylan, I think your prediction may have been right there.
Yeah, I mean, clearly been a pattern just in this first inning already, and now he's already behind 2-0, so the advantage immediately swings back to the Grays in this situation.
They do have the home advantage, I say with air quotes. They're at Povich Field. Runner goes. Throw down. I wouldn't have even done that, as that's way into center field, and that's going to get a run in to tie the ball game. Not sure what Neareye was thinking there, throwing to second base, because you run the risk of not only throwing it into center field, but the runner on third coming home when you throw it.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that throw attempt, because worst comes to worst, the runner gets to second, then you're basically still in the same situation, and your pitcher, who was behind in a 2-0 count, just threw a strike perfectly down the middle to get himself back in the at-bat. So what should have been Jake Eddington starting to get the big train out of the innings, so all of a sudden turns into a tie game.
So still a runner in scoring position, though. E2 on the play. Pair of hits in this opening inning. Buford grounds it to third. There's Schmalewski. He'll fire to first in time for out number 3. So DC answers back with a run. They get a runner to come in on a poor judgment call by Danny Neareye, but hey, he's been good on defense nonetheless all season long. We'll be back here on Big Train TV. Trevor Doyle, leadoff hitter for the Big Train in this inning, as DC is battled back to tie here. We're back on Big Train TV once again as he rips one into right field. That's going to fall in and maybe go to the wall, but nope, that's a base hit for Trevor Doyle. So right away, he is aboard. As I was going to say on Big Train TV, Tyler Gallo, and if you don't recognize the voice next to me, it's okay. Dylan Spilko in for just his second game this year. Ben is taking over, if you can't hear right now, on PA, at least until Rich gets here, but Dylan fills in admirably in his place.
And Trevor Doyle just got that hit, and he's quietly been one of the best hitters on this Big Train team. He's such a good contact hitter, and he loves to pull that ball as a lefty into right field, and he showed it right there. A perfectly hit ball to put another leadoff runner on base for the Big Train.
Back-to-back All-Stars in lineup for the Big Train. Torres looking to do the same. Instead comes up empty on a swing and a miss. 0-1. Of course, in that All-Star game, which was a tremendous experience, by the way. Can't speak enough about getting to do that. And getting to go and cover all that stuff, as Doyle hit a ground rule double. Torres nearly hit a home run. Both guys still looking for their first of the year as he takes strike 2, 0-2. That was the first hit for the Big Train today. Bethesda and DC tied at 1. See if Doyle's moving here. We have seen him run a couple times just outside 1-2. Starting to cool off and darken down a little bit here at Povich. Breaking ball up and in. 2-2. Shadows, or sun is at least momentarily settled behind a small cloud. You still see a little bit where the shadows are afflicting the field, though. Here's the 2-2 to Torres. Up and in, and we saw last night that happened to him on the first at-bat. He got hit in the helmet. Full count now with Torres on first. We'll see if he's going now. Payoff pitch from Davidson. Looks over at Doyle. The pitch. Doyle is going and up and in. Throw down. There's no need. He's safe. This is ball 4. Once again, no need to throw down to second. And here comes, welcome back, sir. Christian Martin up in the lineup. He's been out with an illness the last couple of days. He's back.
And that was Keith Torres' 65th at bat this year and his 27th walk.
Yeah, he's been.
You talk about a guy that can just sit there and watch pitches fly by for balls. I mean, Keith Torres is your man to get on base.
He's just been a guy that, I mean, he was down 0-2 too. Shows how good his eye is at the plate. We've raved about his eye as Martin squares to bunt, but it's in the dirt, 1-0. Mother Earth. Really, and a guy at the bottom of this lineup that I've been really impressed with, especially with his age, is Christian Martin. Really just been a special hitter for this team. Shows what exactly Virginia Tech is getting from him. Again, squares, and it's outside. 2-0. Martin, I mean, he's got a slick glove in the field. He's got a pretty solid bat to bring up to the plate as well. See if he can get a runner in here with 2 of them on. 2-0 to Christian Martin. Virginia Tech commit. The pitch, again squaring, and Davidson wants no part of that bunt. Yes, there are hot dogs here, Chris. Today's National Hot Dog Day, of course. You can go down to the concourse and eat 2 every hour, donated to charity. Martin watches a strike right down the middle on 3-0. And see, you're taking yourself out of a chance to maybe lay into one when you always watch 3-0. But it's been in the game for as long as I can remember. 3-1 offering now from Davidson. Hitters count for Martin. Again squaring, and that's ball 4. So the bases are loaded with nobody out again. And here's Danny Neary, who can make up for that run coming in with one swing of the bat.
So now for the second time in this game already, in just the second inning, the Big Train have loaded the bases twice with no outs. First time they did it, Grant Knipp grounded into double play, but brought home a run. Let's see if the Big Train can capitalize even more with the best opportunity that you can have on offense.
Right, and really anything will score a run here. Wild pitch, pass ball, base it up the middle, sac fly. Really, there's really anything that can get the runner in with nobody out and the bases loaded. But it's quickly 1-0 here to Danny Neary. Neary started his Big Train career off with a bang. Home run in the first at-bat. He has not hit one since. 1-0 to Neary. Bounces one towards the hole. That's a base hit. That's going to get through. Torres racing for third. He's going to come around and score. Doyle is in. Heading to third is Martin. The throw is cut off, and he is on to third, and it's a RBI single. 2 RBI come in for Danny Neary.
That's exactly what you wanted to do if you're Danny Neary. Perfect ground ball into the hole through the right side. Just what the Big Train needed. And now you still have a dangerous scoring position building off of that now that you have a 3-1 lead. Runners on the corners with a good hitter in Riley Johnson.
Yeah, Riley Johnson, worked to walk his first time up, but a guy that's put a charge in one, specifically against this team. Leadoff home run in D.C. a couple of games ago when they were back down there. Boy, I do hope the Big Train face off against D.C. in the playoffs. If they can make it that far. I do love that stadium. First pitch. Flares it towards second. Vandenberg has it, though, for out number 1. Big first out for Davidson as he now trails by 2. And Johnson is retired for out number 1, and Darius Foster up. So thus far, Dylan, your prediction has been all right for Keith Torres. He's gotten aboard no ribeye steaks on the play.
But that's the type of Keith Torres is. He's a guy that just gets on base and creates opportunities. That's why I picked him. He's one of the more consistent Big Train players to get on base.
Foster, in his own right, is consistent as well. Outside, always does that little pump take at the batter's box. Reminds me a lot of Curtis Granderson. Same handedness. Same field position. Outfielder. He's got some pop, too. Takes a strike there, 1-1. I know another guy that would do that again. Same position. Jose Bautista, that's how he became the good hitter that he was that gear up and ready to swing at all times. 1-1 to Foster. Rips it down the right field line into the corner, but that's going to be a foul ball, and it's 1-2.
And that would have easily brought in 2 runs, and that would have given Foster a possible triple. And he's got enough speed to go all the way around the bases, and that ball was about 3 or 4 feet from hitting the line. So Foster, he got a good hold of that one, but now he's got to watch it with 2 strikes.
Spelt trouble, really did, down the right field line. But instead it's just 1-2, a long strike. Foster nearly went yard in Alexandria. Still waiting for his first. Couple of guys looking for their first home run in this lineup today. Doyle, Torres, Martin, and Johnson. Or, excuse me, Foster. Everybody else has home runs to their credit this year. Very thin Big Train bench tonight as it's 2-2. Just Jack Cohn, Colin Tuft, and Brady Gump available off the bench. Pepe, of course, still injured. Seen a lot of coming and goings in this lineup as Foster goes down on a swing and a miss for strike 3, and it's 2 outs. So there's Matt Thomas. Walked his first time up. I'm sure he wouldn't mind another one here.
This is a really good opportunity for the Big Train to extend their 2-run lead. You got to watch out for the Grays offense. They had 2 hits, 1 run in that first inning. You got to pile it on early if you want to distance yourself from your opponent.
And they have the home advantage here as Thomas waves at a swing and a miss there. It's 0-1. Davidson has really had a lot of traffic on the base pass, but hasn't spelt too much trouble for him in this game as he misses low and way outside. And he's been a guy this season who just, the walks have come back to hurt him quite a bit. Greater than 8 ERA. Really just trying to get through this inning here with just the 2 runs across. Thomas fouls it back, and he's right where he wants Thomas to be. The crosshairs are pointed on a 1-2 strike count.
And I think Thomas really wanted that one. That one seemed to be lofted right over the center of the plate. And Thomas, who also one of the best Big Train hitters on this team, has a ton of RBIs this season. Now with an unfavorable count.
1-2 to Thomas. Fouls it off again. Seeming to be all over that fastball of Davidson's. Consecutive foul balls. A couple of kids run over for that baseball.
And despite the Big Train getting 3 early runs, you got to give some credit to Davidson. 2 bases loaded situations, both with no outs. Only 3 runs. You expect a little more for this potent Big Train offense, maybe to get a little more.
Couple of Houdini acts especially in the first inning. This inning, not so much. 2 runs are across. 3-1 the score. Just past the 5 o'clock hour here at Povich Field. Pitch to Thomas, skips low, kicks up a bunch of dirt, and it's 2-2. Jake Davidson takes a big breath, inhales, fires. Thomas grounded to short. There's Buford. He'll take the shore out at second and retire the side. So just the 2 runs come across on a pair of hits for the Big Train, but they still lead it 3-1. Home team DC Grays coming up when we come back. Evan Smith, the first hitter in the DC Grays half of the second inning. Big Train tacked on 2 more runs in this game as they lead it 3-1. Eddington now staked to a 2-run lead as opposed to 1. His first pitch to Smith is low, ball 1.
Yeah, you said it. Now that the Big Train have scored 3 runs over 2 innings, let's see what Eddington can do to bounce back from giving up 1 run.
And that run really wasn't his fault. You know, yeah, they got on via the hit, but Nerai made a decision to throw the ball to second base and skied it. So it looked like they're having issues with the scoreboard. It's no Dylan Spilko out there running the scoreboard, that's for sure. 1-1. Smith fouls it off. 1-2. Already a pair of strikeouts in today's game for Eddington. He struck out Donovan Freyer and Burt Camper in the first inning. Looking to make Smith another one on that long list of victims he struck out this season. Up to 33 now on the year, if you don't count that Israel game, as it wasn't a regular season one. 1-2. Looped in the air, shallow left. It's going to fall in for a base hit, and the inning starts the same way the last one did, and Cooper Vest strutting up to the plate.
Number 7, the designated hitter out of BYU, Cooper.
Cooper Vest, a Brigham Young University Cougar. I believe they're the Cougars. It's the one place where I'm not so certain, but it's in Utah. I do know that. Vest we've seen on the mound this year as well. Third hit of the day for the DC offense. They still have that 1 run, though. Squaring to bunt his Vest. He gets it down. It's a good one right to Eddington. Slowly hit. And he'll just get the out at first for out number 1. So a very strongly placed bunt for Cooper Vest. And with a runner in scoring position, Alex Rosen strides up to the plate.
Yeah, very smart play from Vest. Just able to get it down. All you really want to do is advance the runner. That's what he did, especially when your team has 3 hits in just the second inning against the Big Train starting pitcher.
Trio of hits today for DC. Alex Rosen looking to add himself to that list. Eddington checks on the runner second. He goes. Throw down from Nerai to third is not in time. He's safe. So a stolen base for Evan Smith, and he is now 90 feet away for Alex Rosen.
That was much closer than it seemed. I think it was just the outstretched arm of Vest that just was able to reach the bag before the tag could come in.
Sean Uell maybe applied the tag a little too late on him there. 7-inning game here. Both of them will be 7. Rosen hoping to get that runner in and then some. Fires at a swing and a miss there, 1-1.
So now this pitch upcoming is really important for Eddington because if it's a strike, he's up at 1-2 in the count. That's exactly where he wants to be.
Can determine the entire AB. The pitch, swing and a miss, and there's your strike, Dylan. And it's 1-2.
And now he's in a perfect situation on the mound. If he makes this 2 outs, all of a sudden that runner on third becomes a little less of a worry.
Right, and he can really work with some pitches here with a 1-2 count. Can maybe try to get him to chase, throw it a little bit outside. I'm thinking this pitch is nowhere near the strike zone. 1-2. In the strike zone, at least to first base. And Nip will just take the unassisted put out at first. So a run does come in to score on the sacrifice. RBI for Alex Rosen. And it's 3-2. And here comes Kenny Bell.
And you can see Eddington a little frustrated there. Obviously would have rather no run come in. However, he does get the out. But you did have a runner on third with just 1 out in the inning. So it was kind of understood that that run was more likely to come in than not.
Yeah.
But that was a very impressive at-bat for Eddington.
And not as impressive as he hits Kenny Bell on the first pitch he sees. And a runner on first for the leadoff hitter, Kyle Schmalewski.
And maybe that just is showing out of the little frustration that I was mentioning before.
He's like, you got a hit against me? You know what? I'm going to plunk the next guy. I don't think that was any way intentional. I believe that was an off-speed pitch that he just missed and lost the handle on. Once again, it is National Hot Dog Day today. I've already had 2. Probably that's going to be the only 2 I have. They are keeping tab of how many we eat, though. The Big Train interns, of course. Eddington delivers to Schmalewski outside, ball 1. 2 outs here. Number 2 up at the plate and a runner on first. Schmalewski out of Lafayette, McKinney, Texas native. Runner goes. Here's the throw from Nerai. It's on the money, and he is out. Great throw from Danny Nerai to cut down the runner Bell at second base, and the inning is over. So a run comes across the score, but Danny Nerai showing off the cannon.
Fans,
Ends the
we
inning.
have a special birthday boy in the house.
A walking fire, I guess, walking guy that's on fire right now. Man on fire. Grant Knipp rips one into left field, but there is left fielder to make the catch for out number 1, Donovan Frayer. Such a shame that was not out of the ballpark. Last night he hit one, though.
Oh, that home run was so far into the trees.
I might say, without that tree, without a doubt, that might be, even with the tree, that might be the furthest home run we've seen this year at Povich Field, outside of maybe that Rob Pollard one in the Israel game. First pitch to Nolan Schmalewski. Misses on the inside third of the plate. 1-0. Schmalewski grounded out his last time up. A big F7 to lead things off here. Schmalewski lofts one to deep right field. Going back is Schmalewski on the warning track. He leaps and he makes the catch for out number 2. Schmalewski gave it a ride.
Yeah, it was really good contact from Schmalewski. I mean, the form on the swing was perfect. He rocketed that one into the gap that I'm sure he's hit a few times this season. It was a really nice play in the outfield, though. And now it's quickly 2 outs for the big train.
Davidson, inning looks a lot better than it did the last 2, that's for sure. Here for his 3rd inning of work, ready to go. Davidson out of Kenyon College. First offering to Trevor Doyle, who singled his first time up. Well-placed and well-struck single for Trevor Doyle. 1-0. Here's the pitch. Doyle takes a strike. Doyle's been, very deserving all-star, that's for sure. A guy that hasn't been getting it done via the long ball this year, but he's been getting it done by stringing together hits in key situations. 1-1. Bounces about a foot in front of the plate. Or a couple of inches, actually, and it's 2-1. Keith Torres would be next. Batting in the 7 hole tonight. And we see Keith Torres in a new batting order position almost every game. 2-1. Sails just way outside. 3-1. In the prototypical hitters count here is Trevor Doyle. Does not swing the bat, lays off, and that's ball 4 with 2 outs. 2-out walk for Keith Torres. So he's been on base both times today, has Trevor Doyle. We will likely be visited by him in the second game, second half of this twilight doubleheader. Ben will be on the call for that game, barring Rich just not showing up. I'm assuming he'll be here soon, though. Dylan Spilko multitasking, writing the game story and broadcasting today. 0-1.
I got the best of both worlds over here, Tyler. It's the best seat in the house.
Right.
Best broadcast partner. I mean, what more could I ask for here at Shirley Povich Field?
That's what we like to hear. Pressed into service. 0-1 here to Keith Torres. Comes up empty, 0-2. And earlier today, I have to mention, I was playing the Fungo battle with Matt Howard, who's pretty good at it, and Dr. Christy Voigt, and I won. We were seeing who could hit that left field, the baseball on the scoreboard, left hand, BCC, as Torres takes a ball outside. And I hit the first one a little bit to the middle of center field, and then the second one, bam, right off the baseball, like perfectly placed. I don't know how I did it, but it worked.
You're the next guy up in the roster, Tyler. I'm sure that they'll call you up to the big train lineup sooner or later.
I hope so. Torres swings and misses for strike 3, so he is retired. Big Train get a runner with 2 outs, but nothing more. We'll be back here on Big Train TV, but first, a word from our sponsors.
1 in 10,000 children are born with a brain malformation known as Dandy-Walker syndrome. Dandy-Walker can cause enlargement of the skull, lack of muscle control, and other developmental challenges. More research is needed, but we do know that early therapy helps many live healthier, fuller lives. 1 in 10,000 may not seem like a lot unless your child is the one. Learn more, find help, and help others. Visit dandy-walker.org.
Notre Dame left-hander Ryan Lynch takes over on the mound after 2 all-right innings from Jake Eddington today. Put in his work, allowed 2 runs, struck out 2, did not walk any, couple of hits as well. And Ryan Lynch to deal with the top of the order here. Notre Dame, native of Granger, Indiana. Part of a large Notre Dame contingency on this roster, a lot of fighting Irish. And his first pitch sizzles in there for strike 1. Lynch this season, maybe lost in the shuffle a little bit out of the bullpen. Is that a all right season? Not too bad. Schmalewski takes ball 1 outside. You know, Lynch has been relied upon in several situations this year. Did pitch in the Israel game. Here's the 1-1. Schmalewski went around and strike 2. Dylan Spilko enjoying himself some shave ice over there. 1-2, always on a hot day, just outside. Now, how's Ryan Lynch doing this year?
Well, Ryan Lynch, he's got a 4.90 ERA. He's really got a nice throwing for him. He's gone 11 innings this year, 21 strikeouts to show for it. But sometimes you see right there the control has been somewhat of an issue for Lynch, and he's given up 11 hits in those 11 innings pitched. But overall, he hasn't had such a terrible season. I mean, he's been a reliable relief guy for the Big Train so far. Yeah,
ever since he came to the park, hoping for a strikeout, but gets a walk instead. And aboard for the second time today is Kyle Schmalewski, and up comes Donovan Freyer. Freyer struck out his last time up. Big swing and a miss there from him. Two-way player for this squad. Pitched out of the bullpen the last time DC was here, I believe. Or the second to last time DC was here. But this is the penultimate home game of the season. Well, not really home. Next game is the final home game of the season. This is the penultimate away game of the season, even though they're at home. It's just things are getting a little bit crazier. Big Train wearing their green jerseys and DC wearing blue. Nice uni-watch matchup. Freyer takes strike 2, 0-2 again. And Freyer on verge of doing exactly what he did in his first at-bat. DC's got these really nice jerseys, by the way. Faded DC, gradient DC. Freyer lays off on the half swing, still 1-2. Gradient DC overlaid on back of their jerseys. Says Grays on the front. Might be an alternate. I don't think they wore these ones the last time they were here. 1-2 to Freyer. He swings and misses. And Lynch has a strikeout. And one down here for Patrick Vandenberg.
And we're just 3 innings into this game, and you see the stark differences between the types of at-bats that you're seeing against these Big Train pitchers. If Bethesda's pitchers are getting ahead of these Grays batters, their success has been so much better when they've been able to get ahead in the counts.
Right, it really hinges upon if they deal that first pitch strike like Lynch just did right there to Patrick Vandenberg, and it's really how they've lived and died today. See who next out of the bullpen. Who is next out of the bullpen for the Big Train? I know Locke is available, but within a close game as Vandenberg is hit by the pitch. And he is aboard again, and there's 2 runners on for Burt Camper.
Number 39 from Towson.
Not the start that Ryan Lynch probably wanted. Gives up the opening walk to start the inning, and then the hit by pitch after getting ahead in the count 0-1. He's really going to have to take advantage right now with 1 out on the board.
Yeah, and with the runner on, Danny Neareye is going to go talk to Ryan Lynch. And Burt Camper, the Towson Tiger, actually has that protective ear flap on his helmet. I haven't seen that too often this year from anyone on this team or other teams. But Burt Camper, first guy I've noticed with it. I'm sure there's been more. Lynch, right into a pressure situation. Let's see if he can Houdini his way out of it. First pitch. Just outside. A little bit more than just, and it's 1-0. Long hold here for Lynch. He delivers just high. Again, 2-0. And it's really just been a roller coaster type of afternoon for the Big Train pitching. You know, when they get behind, they fall behind. And that's really just been the story of today's game, as you've said. Inconsistencies in the first pitch of the game have led to inconsistencies in the field. And Lynch, again, missing high. 3-0.
Really not a good spot for Lynch to be in right now. Best case scenario, he gets the count to 3-1, and then he's still not in favor of getting the other out. So bases loaded threat, most likely probable upcoming for the Grays.
Slim 3-2 lead for the Big Train right now, and on verge of that ending right here. Inside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded with 1 out for Cam Buford.
The shortstop from Grambling State.
So the Big Train have loaded the bases twice, and they got 3 runs out of those 2 combined opportunities. And now the Grays finally have a turn with the bases loaded, but this time they're only down 1. See if they can do any damage on the scoreboard.
Buford, a guy that has done his fair share of damage this season. Again, a former CRCBL player, offensive player of the week. Lynch has come out of the bullpen, really not hitting his spots. Evan Smith on deck circle. First pitch to Buford. Gets away, and that's going to get a runner in to score. Vandenberg in to score. Everybody else moves up a base, and this ball game is all tied up. Straight wild pitch for Ryan Lynch there. Really nothing Neareye could have done.
And you can almost see that one coming with the bases loaded, no out situation. Lynch losing his control on the mound. And that wild pitch was just or pass ball was just a sign of the times for Lynch so far in just his opening inning of work.
Now with the base open, we'll see how he attacks Cam Buford. The pitch hit high in the air into center field and right. Trevor Doyle going over. Might be deep enough. Runner tagging at third. He's coming home. The throw goes to third. Both runners are tagging. And it's a sacrifice fly to give the Grays the lead, 4-3 for Cam Buford. So an F9 sacrifice fly drives in a run, moves a runner up to third.
The third baseman out of West Virginia.
And Evan Smith, who singled his last time up, walks up to the plate. The runner on third now is Burt Camper, who got on via the walk. Cooper Vest would be next. First pitch. Outside, ball one. Ryan Lynch has surrendered the lead here in this game on no hits. Still just 3 to their name for the Grays. Hits one off the end of the bat towards short. A lot of topspin. Torres, the long throw. It's in time to get him for out number 3. So 2 runs do come in against Ryan Lynch. DC gets their first lead of the day. It's 4-3. So we had to break here on Big Train TV. Christian Martin kicks in and leads off here against Jake Davidson, who now has the first lead of the day, his first lead of the day. Martin walked his last time up. It's been a lot of walks today for Davidson. Up to 6 now. Martin hoping for more of the same. And it starts off just that way, 1-0. Been a pretty crude game of baseball today, despite just 1 error on the board. You see some kicking in the bullpen. Martin lays down a drag bunt. It's a good one to his left, and not even going to get a chance to throw him out, as it is a bunt single for Christian Martin. Davidson has to put that in his back pocket.
Some real hard running from Christian Martin on that beautifully laid down bunt. Completely sprinted the first without ever looking back at where the ball was, just as the runner should do, and made it with ease to first. And for another inning, the Big Train get another leadoff guy on base.
And it affords yourself a little bit easier for that to be a beat out if you lay that drag bunt down and you're a lefty. You have less time to run to first base. Danny Neary, another lefty, is up. They check on Martin. Martin's not moving. Neary drove in 2 Big Train runners today on a well-struck single. Again checking on Martin. He's not moving. So his pickoff move is a lot similar to his windup. Let's see if he gets to utilize that again. Do see some sidearmers throw a sidearm first. First pitch to Neary is taken exactly where Martin was started off. 1-0.
And remember, Neary had that grounder through the right side to bring 2 runs in for the Big Train.
Hoping to do that again. Instead, he hits one off the end of the bat into no man's land that might fall in behind third base. Smith hoping for it, and he makes the catch. Loses his hat for out number 1. Neary is retired. And here comes the leadoff hitter, Riley Johnson.
And that pop fly wasn't really as easy as it seemed. It kind of had a lot of curve on it
Right.
as it was going into the outfield. It looked like it was going to drop just shy of the infield. So it ends in and out, but a little closer than it seemed for Dana Neri.
Evan Smith lost his hat. Riley Johnson looking to lose a baseball. 4-3 DC leads Bethesda. Christian Martin, the runner on first. Those purple batting gloves, you know it's Riley. Bounces in, runner goes. Good heads-up base running play, but out by a mile at second base is Christian Martin. I'm not sure what he was thinking.
Well, you could tell that he knew he was out right away from how far he was from the bag. He immediately got tagged, then didn't even look at the umpire for a consultation. Just took off his helmet and got going back to the dugout.
So now the complexion of the inning changes a little bit. First pitch to, or second pitch to Riley Johnson, bounces low, 2-0. Really, you know, Martin, yeah, it is heads up to run on that play, but that's not far enough for you to beat it out. Even if you are the fastest man in the world, like Christian Martin is. 2-1. Just a poor judgment call of running to second, even though it was smart to maybe try to catch Camper napping. Johnson lofts one to right field. On the run and coming in, it's going to fall in for a base hit in front of Schmalewski. So Riley Johnson is aboard with his first hit of the day, and up comes Darius Foster with 2 outs.
Yeah, now Riley Johnson, he has a run scored already after walking in one of the previous innings. And we said it before, Johnson, a really good contact hitter, shows it right there. And even though it's with 2 outs, teams have 2-out rallies. You never know when it could come, so it's good to get a guy on base.
Evans looks to be none worse for the wear, though. He'll go back behind home plate. Covered in dirt, though. Did the bat hit him? I'm not sure what happened.
I didn't see anything on that play, but it seems that he's good enough to continue, so we'll go right on with the game.
Darius Foster up now. He's walked and struck out. Darius Foster, the all-star, man that can steal. One of the most prolific thefts in the league. As he ropes one into right field, that's going to fall for a foul ball. Man, he's finding that right field corner, just not getting the fair ball.
Yeah, it's the second time today that Foster has hit a line drive towards that right side that has just been either a foot or a few feet from that line. So Foster, I mean, he's showing really nice form with that swing, really hitting the ball well, just can't put the ball in play.
As I should have said thieves, not thefts. But yeah, Foster loves to utilize that right portion of the field, but also when he puts the ball in play, good things happen. I'd love to get his BABIP statistic this year. Batting average on balls in play. Because when he puts it in play, he seems to get on base. Takes ball 1. You know, he's got a lot of infield hits, a couple of bunt base hits. Not a lot of extra base hits. But he's added a bunch more recently. I'm a guy that I'm sure he's more happy to get on via the single than any other way. Singles that one foul. 1-2 here to him. San Francisco.
And keep in mind, this is a 7-inning game, so anytime the big train get runners on base, it's just that much more important to get something going.
Right, and this game it's the 7 innings come upon you quickly. Skips inside. Camper the back pick on Johnson, but he's back to first base. But the 7 innings, it's not like, oh, well, there's some time left. Nope, the 7th inning comes up really, really fast in these 7-inning games. Big Train do have 4 hits. Two and two. The pitch just outside, and the count runs full. And that's another thing that Foster has a knack for, is working the count. Him and Torres, most of the most prolific on-base percentage guys in this lineup. Always choked up on that bat. Full count offering, payoff pitch. Low ball 4. Foster is aboard.
And this is what I talked about with the hit from Johnson with 2 outs. You have no runners on base with 2 outs. You don't seem like you have anything after the Christian Martin tag out at second. And now all of a sudden you get a guy on first with a hit, and then Foster draws the walk to put a guy on second. So now the Big Train have a scoring opportunity with 2 outs in what originally looked like nothing would come from this inning.
And just think, if Martin were still on base, they'd have 1 out, and they'd have the bases loaded. Thomas takes inside, ball 1.
And Johnson and Foster are such a good duo of just getting on base to set up guys like Matt Thomas and Grant Knipp for these quality RBI opportunities.
Well, that's why they're placed 3 and 4 in the lineup. 2 guys that capitalize in these situations. 1-0. Here's the pitch. Strike called, 1-1. Thomas definitely didn't agree with that ball. Was rung up, I believe, by Mitch Thomas to end a game. Did not agree with that call either. 1-1 from Davidson in his 4th inning. Here's the pitch. Runner goes. Johnson down to third. He is safe, and Foster, why don't I take second on the play? Fast enough to do it, and now there's 2 runners in scoring position for Matt Thomas.
And that's a really great coordinated effort for each player to steal a base there. Not easy to do, and just great recognition from Foster to go ahead and take that second base.
Yeah, double steal was not on initially, but Foster, seeing as they were going to throw down at third, was like, why not? Why don't I go to third? Or we'll go to second. What the heck? 2-1 here to Thomas. Good count for him to do some work. Strike 2. 2-2. Thomas again. Frustrated with the call there. Two and two. With runners on second and third, a base hit could score 2. With how fast Foster is at second. The pitch. Outside, and the count runs full once again. He's got a lot of space on that right side if he goes the opposite way. But also, really playing deep in left field is Donovan Freyer. So if he bloops one, that's could spell trouble for this team. Trying to maybe aim for the other way as Thomas knocks down Coach Reggie Terry's statistic board. and Gatorade, I guess. Reggie Terry not too happy about that one. Shaking that Gatorade back up. One more time, payoff pitch. Runners on second and third to Thomas. The pitch fouls it back and it hits Mitch Evans in the face. Mitch Evans having a adventure behind home plate today.
And no matter way how you look at this inning, it's been a really successful inning considering it came from a no runners on 2 out situation. It's only a matter of if the Big Train can capitalize and put on any runs in this inning.
Yeah, you wouldn't view it as a success more so if they got runs, just not if they go down silently, even with runners 90 and 180 feet away. Inside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded, and who's coming up? Grant Knipp.
And going through Grant Knipp's first 2 at-bats, he had that first at-bat that ended in the double play, which brought in a run. And then he swung at the first pitch when he led off one of the other innings. That was just a well-hit ball, but a fly out to center field nonetheless. But still one of the best hitters on this team as of late. And it's a chance for Knipp to get his first hit of the day.
Ball is like a beach ball for Grant Knipp right now. The way he's been heating up. Been on a heater. First pitch from Davidson. Breaking ball spins into the strike zone for strike 1, 0-1. Once again, Tyler Gallo and Dylan Spilko here with you on Big Train TV. So happy to be bringing you every Big Train game this season as we move into the home stretch. Just 2 games remaining in the regular season, and then we get to playoffs. Knipp hits one right to short. Buford on a 2-hop, fires to second in time for out number 3. The Big Train load the bases, but leave them loaded. They still trail by 1 as we head to the top of the 4th here on Big Train TV.
number 7, Cooper Vest.
Here's Cooper Vest, the designated hitter, lead off. Will lay down a beautifully executed sacrifice bunt his last time up. That led to a run. But now with no one on base against Ryan Lynch. And Ryan Lynch hits him with a pitch right on the backside. And there's already a runner on.
And I'm very surprised that Ryan Lynch is still in this game, despite this game not really meaning too much for, obviously, postseason implications with the big train already clinching the 1 seed. You know, maybe it's just to get Lynch some work. However, he really struggled in the inning before this. That was his second batter that he plucked. So hopefully he can get ahead in a couple counts here.
Do see Jacob Tuft catching somebody in the bullpen. Not quite sure who it is. Squaring to bunt and getting it towards first base. And a flip in time. So a good sacrifice there for Alex Rosen. Gets the runner to second.
Grays are doing a really nice job of just situational hitting. That's another, I believe that's their second sacrifice bunt in which they moved over the runner on first to second. So a really nice job from the Grays to be able to put runners in scoring positions against these big train pitchers.
Kenny Bell, who was hit as well his last time up, has a runner on second now to work with. First pitch. Sails on Ryan Lynch. It's 1-0. It is National Hot Dog Day, of course, and Chris Van Jora is grilling up some good ones down there. If you're heading to the ballpark for the second game and just catching the first one, be sure to pledge your donation to charity as you get hot dogs. I've eaten 2 already. Dylan Spilko ate 2 before the charity moment, but I'm sure he will be down there potentially having 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, you know I'm down there to have as many hot dogs as possible. I think it's one of my best specialties.
The hot dog man is hot dogging, according to Dylan Spilko.
That is what I say, and I stand by that statement.
Here at the Pove. That's another Dylan Spilkoism. Here's the 1-1 to Bell. Mountains one up in the middle of the infield. Torres says he's got it and does. And there's out number 2.
And that was a perfect pitch from Lynch there. A nice up-high fastball in tight, forcing the batter to take a kind of a half swing right there. And it was an easy pop-up for the usually steady Torres at shortstop.
Torres has been just that, like you said, almost all season. Here's Kyle Schmalewski, who has reached base both times, once via a single and once via a walk. First pitch from Lynch, the inning looks a little bit better now after he hit the first batter and got 2 quick outs. Misses inside. Big Train still trail by 1, just 3 innings left in this game. They have already wrapped up the number 1 seed in the division, though. DC Grays are firmly entrenched in last right now, with 10-22 record. But they do lead up high, ball 2. Now, I believe the Big Train have fallen to once to every team. But if it's the only team that they didn't lose to this season, it would be DC. But they've played a bunch of good games with DC this year, even in victory. Schmalewski hits one high and deep to right field, but Doyle strides back towards the warning track and makes the catch for out number 3. So a leadoff hit by pitch does not come around to bite Ryan Lynch. He's through 2 scoreless, or he's through 2 with a couple of runs across here on Big Train TV. Nolan Shawnuel leads things off against new pitcher Sage Dobbs out of Richmond. Spider Nation comes onto the mound. Rain starts up a little bit here at Povich Field. I don't think it's going to be too much of a big deal. Not supposed to rain for too long. We'll see what the weather shows us. Shawnuel takes ball outside from Dobbs. Dobbs just one appearance this season and got knocked around a little bit. ERA at 27, so as you would assume, 3 runs allowed in that 1 inning. Inside. The wind's picking up too. Maybe the winds of change. Here's the big train trying to mount a comeback. Down 1. Yeah, the rain is just a steady drizzle right now, not coming down too hard. And not really affecting the play either as it's outside, and Dobbs loses his hat. Sage Dobbs, 6'2" and 210, the right-hander. Native of Gaithersburg. I know where that is. First time we've seen him this year. It's just his second appearance, so. 3-0. Shawnuel takes a strike right down Westlake, and it's 3-1. Not sure how long this rain is due to last. It was raining before the game, and Shawnuel leaps out of the way of that ball. And that's ball 4. He's aboard.
Number 27, the right fielder from Sacramento State, Trevor Doyle. Number 27.
Trevor Doyle now up as the rain intensifies a little bit. Fans starting to maybe depart their seats, and yeah, it's raining. A little bit harder now. Fans starting to leave the field. Pitch from Dobbs. Loses his hat again. Misses outside, ball 1. Dobbs maybe got to fasten that hat a little bit tighter.
Hopefully it's just a passing storm that we have here, but it is coming down fairly hard. You said that the fans are starting to leave, but hopefully it's just a passing storm and that the field can survive.
If it's only supposed to last less than an hour, I'm assuming it'll be fine. It's outside, 1-1, and not quite impeding play, but I'm assuming they're probably going to call it shortly. Rain is pretty hard. Field still looks good, though. Dobbs, 1-1. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball in there, strike 2. 1-2. Dobbs got that red and black glove, assuming that's from Richmond. It's still sunny out, so it's just funny that it's raining right now.
We have very different definitions of sunny.
I mean, it's still lighter than it would be when it rained.
That you are
Get
correct.
your phone out of the rain here.
You are a gentleman, Tyler.
Maybe we'll close the window in just a second. Looks like Doyle is retired on strike 3 looking. And that is out number 1.
Number 9.
You can only wonder how much longer that they can continue to play in this. I would assume that they might just be trying to get through this inning. And then they might have to just wait it out.
Well, the rain does seem to be stopping a little bit. Not as hard as it was before. First pitch now to Keith Torres with Shawnuel aboard. He reached via the walk. Squared to bunt, but it's ball anyway. This rain is definitely subsiding now. The fans are no longer really in the stands. They've all departed for greener pastures.
Well, if they do play through the rain, I think that really favors the big train batters that are consistently near atop of the league.
Torres hits one high in the air into foul territory. Open for a play is Camper. Smith comes over as well, but that's out of play. 4-1, strike 1.
But in a game where there have already been 7 runs scored through 4 innings, which it's really been the hitters that have had a lot of the favorable plays instead of the pitching, I think the rain really favors the batters because the control from the pitching isn't going to get any better with the slippery ball.
We've seen that he's lost his hat a few times out on the mound. As fans start to file back into the seats as the rain starts to quell a little bit. 1-1 from Dobbs. Skips in the dirt, and that dirt still is not like mud. That dirt still has the dust, the dusting that it would have when it was still dry. So they're not worried about the field conditions right now as it's not a hard rain anymore. Just coming down out there. Just a nuisance, merely. 2-1. Long hold from Dobbs, the pitch. Loses his hat again, and Torres sends it to deep center field, or shallow center field. Bell coming in, makes the catch for out number 2. Torres is retired, and here's Christian Martin. Reached twice via a single and a walk.
So now that's two straight outs for the big train after getting a leadoff runner on. Down by 1, that's not exactly what you want. You want to start crawling back to this game. I mean, the big train did have a 3-1 lead at one point, and we talked about trying to extend that lead, but they really weren't able to do as much as they would have liked with the bases loaded. And now all of a sudden, they're down 1 run to the last base Grays.
It's outside, ball 1. Got to think that maybe this is the last inning for now. So the rain again intensifies. Showing no adverse effects on the field, though. 1-0. Martin outside, ball 2.
Once again, I think they might just be trying to get through this inning.
Yeah. And then they'll drag the tarp on and wait for it to pass, finish this first game, and maybe push back the second game a little bit. It was not due to rain at this hour. Man, it'll cool things off a little bit, though. 2-0 to Christian Martin, who's been aboard twice. The pitch from Dobbs. Hits one high to center field. Bells has it, under it, and he makes the catch for out number 3. So the big train get a leadoff runner on, and they strand him in the same spot he started on.
Ladies and gentlemen, as this is a
Raining here, and
boys
big train
and
lead it, or
girls,
trail
down
4-3
deep.
as we head to the 5th.
Time to stretch.
Back here at Povich Field, and you hear Baby Shark playing, so you know who's out on the mound. It is Kemp Alderman. Takes over. The mighty righty is also a mighty righty on the mound. And he is aboard to start things off.
The left fielder.
So,
Number 15.
left fielder Donovan Freyer leads off against Kemp.
Number 15.
You know, Kemp, I mean, on the mound this year hasn't been great, but man at the plate, he has been an all-star. Very deserving. League leader in ribeye stakes, up above 40. We'll see what he can do here. Delivering some strikes. He can sizzle it in there. First pitch from the Ole Miss righty. Does sizzle, but it's down low. Ball 1. Maybe trying to trim down his ERA a little bit in an outing. Misses low again. 2-0. The rain doesn't seem to be really affecting anything out there. Yeah, the field has gotten considerably darker, but it was a dry day. Maybe could benefit from a little bit. Freyer rips one down the right field line, but that's going to hook towards the DC bullpen and go out of play for strike one. A long strike. Freyer got a hold of that ball. The rain, it's just like, it's like shining outside. The sun is shining, but the rain is falling. So Alderman loses the handle on that ball, and it goes way to the backstop, 3-1. Now to Donovan Freyer. Alderman delivers. Bounces one towards the second base hole. Flag down by Martin. He fires first offline, but he stayed on the bag. Great pickup by Grant Knipp. And that is out number one. What a play there by Christian Martin. Not only to get to that ball, but throw out the runner and then saves a bad throw, the first baseman, Grant Knipp.
Yeah, it was a really tough throw from Martin, obviously off his back foot. And you said it, a really nice play at first base to be able to get that out.
Hands held high for Alderman. Misses outside, ball one. Maybe the rain affecting it a little bit here. That part. The field has now turned a very muddy brown. Once it gets shiny, you know that it's time to call the game. Rain not falling hard enough to warrant that. 2-0 from the mighty righty. Kemp was listed as a pitcher coming in, but man, has he been anything but that this season. Outside, ball three. 6'3", 250 at Ole Miss, Decatur, Mississippi native. Kemp delivers the 3-0 right down the middle for strike one, and that's a way to show up the umpire. In the fifth now, 4-3 ball game. Outside, ball four, and Vandenberg is aboard with one out for Burt Camper.
And that first out just became that much more important for the big train, because if Martin and Knipp don't combine for that first out, all of a sudden you got two runners on. So that first out becomes very important. And now the double play is
in order,
a possibility.
Double play is in order. Rain clouds are hovering overhead. Hopefully they go away. Rain, go away. Inside. And that hit Camper. That was a loud crack. And he is aboard on the hit by pitch and throws the bat in disgust towards the dugout. Kemp just losing control here.
Yeah, well, that's kind of expected. Kemp Alderman known to throw some heat on the mound, and that one beamed right into the upper portion of the Grays batter. So now, really big moment in the game. Two runners on for the Grays. Kemp Alderman needs to shut it down in the mound if the big train want to stay in this game.
And in a low or a high leverage situation, I believe for the first time this season, we've seen him come on the mound in some non-close games, but with a big ask here, two runners on. Kemp looks back. Here's the pitch. Pours it in there right down the middle, and that's the Kemp you want to see. 0-1. He does have a pretty good breaking pitch, though. We've seen him utilize that in some scenarios to get him some free strikes. If he can bend one in, potentially steals that strike even more. But Cam Buford, not a guy you want to let flip a burger into there. So here's the 0-1. Fouls it off, and it's 0-2. There's a good count for Kemp Alderman to work with. Now he can try to get Buford to chase.
Yeah, let's see if that trend continues of the big train pitchers getting ahead in the count and then successfully capturing that out. And this would be a very important one if he made it 2 outs.
4-3 the score here at Povich Field. Big Train this season have been hotter than ever. Lost a couple of games, though, as you will. Buford down the first base line. That's a fair ball going into the corner. Doyle will have to track it down. In to score is Schmalewski. Heading to third and stopping there is Patrick Vandenberg, or Burt Camper. Vandenberg in to score, and it's a 5-3 ball game. A base hit for Buford. It's a double, and it's 5-3. So 0-2. Really good hitting there for Cam Buford, and here's Evan Smith. The sun starts to shine again, and the rain starts to stop. But it was raining down on Kemp Alderman in that AB. I know Kemp much prefers trying to get runs via the hit. That sails outside, ball one. Kemp, an all-star. Of course, all-star hitter this year. Hasn't pitched enough to warrant that. First time he's pitched in quite some time, though. Pitch to Smith, right off of Kemp. And that's going to get through the shortstop hole and into the outfield. Ouch. So everybody is safe. Moving up a base is Buford. It's an RBI single off of the foot of Kemp Alderman.
The designated hitter, number 7.
And it's 6-3 DC.
Cooper Vest.
With Cooper Vest coming up. Deflected single there for Evan Smith. They're going to go out to talk to Kemp, and the rain is finally started to stop. Coach Lopez is going to go out there and talk to his pitcher. Locke and Metz also available out of the bullpen here in this 7-inning game. The big train, it's on verge of this game being over before they start. They will be back home for the second game at least. And there's the sun. Here comes the sun, the Beatles would say. I was hoping you'd say that, Aaron. Because now I can fire you again. Great song by the Beatles. Sun is out. Rain has all but stopped. Field getting a nice little watering today. Kemp looking to get out of this situation. First and third and just one out. Misses low. Kemp's had a very tough year on the mound, but at the dish, he has been a force. Runner goes to second. High fly ball to center field. Lost it for a little bit as Johnson. He'll make the catch. Runner coming to the plate. Here's a throw from Johnson. That's nearly cut off and nearly on line. A good throw maybe cuts down Buford. But now the score is stretched to 7-3. Sacrifice fly for Cooper Vest. And there's two outs.
And the Grays have really piled it on here in the inning, really extended themselves, distanced themselves away from the big train on the scoreboard, now with a 7-3 lead. And once again, Big Train's failure to capitalize on those bases loaded, no outs opportunities early in the game are coming back to rue them, now trailing by 4 in just a 7-inning game.
Spelled trouble to begin with. Kemp got a quick out to start things off, but unraveled a bit in this inning. Misses outside again. Neareye, good job to flag that ball down. As fans start to settle back into the stands. A little bit wet. It's okay. We can't wipe those off right now. We're up doing a broadcast. One and 0 now. Right down Westlake, and there's strike one. It's 1-1. Alderman the long hold. Runner on first only now. Alex Rosen. Runner goes. Near ice throw down. On the money. He is out at second base. Another caught stealing for Danny Neareye gets Kemp Alderman out of the situation. And the big train come up after allowing 3 runs. But hey, another cannon of a throw from Danny Neareye. We'll be back here on Big Train TV. Sage Dobbs in for his second inning of work with more of a lead to work with. Danny Neary leads off. Much wetter turf now, or much wetter dirt in the batter's box. We'll see if the Big Train can mount a comeback here. They've just got 2 half innings left to play with. Dobbs pours a strike in for strike 1. Neary bounces one past the mound. Buford slowly charges. Going to be a tough play. Fires to first in time. Out number 1.
And with the wet grass out there, that's a tougher play than it seems. That ball was really high in the air. It looked about 10 to 15 feet bouncing in the air. So a really nice play by Buford to throw out the runner at first.
Riley Johnson kicks in the dirt to Cheeseburger in Paradise. Hoping to send a burger over the outfield wall. Put some cheese on a baseball. First pitch from Dobbs. Watches it. Strike 1.
And you keep talking about that hat falling off. I mean, it's fallen off 3 or 4 times already.
He's got to get a tighter hat. I mean, it's almost uncanny how much it keeps falling off. Squaring a bunt, but pulls it back, and it's 1-1. Dobbs has a 4-run lead now as opposed to just 1. Just 4 hits today for the Big Train. Johnson has 1. And he watches another one outside a little bit. Ball 1. Johnson had a single, got all the way to third, but was left held there. More action in the bullpen. We'll see who pitches the top half or bottom of the 6th. Johnson watches a strike. 2-2. And Sage Dobbs has lost his hat for the 12th time. Quick pitch, loses it, bounce pass, and foul off the mound.
I think they're going to call that an out.
An out. That was a quick pitch. So, I'm not quite
Or was it? There really was no signal from that play. They kind of just let him continue, and it looks like they are calling it an out on Riley Johnson.
Johnson
He can't
not
believe
happy.
it.
Yeah, I thought he hit his foot or hit the ground in front of him.
I guess they're ruling that. They're going to discuss it now, and I wouldn't be shocked if this was overturned. But the way that it was chopped on the ground, it made it look like it did go off a body part of some sort.
And Dobbs quick pitched him, lost his hat. Johnson's going to be, yep, he's back in the batter's box.
Well, there you go. Well, now you got 2-2 count.
New life.
and new life for Riley Johnson, and maybe something will come of this, but it's starting to become do or die for the Big Train in the first game of the doubleheader.
And a loss won't hurt them too much, but it certainly feel a lot better if they can sneak out of here with a win. 2-2 from Sage Dobbs. See if his hat comes off here. The pitch, it does. Fouled off. Is that just his shtick or something? Because his hat has come off almost every time he's thrown the ball.
Maybe at this point you just take off the hat and just go hatless.
That red hair in the sun shining a little bit. Another quick pitch, grounded towards first. Tough hop for the first baseman, Rosen. He makes the catch for out, and that's out number 2. 3-U on the play. Sage Dobbs loses his hat for the 4,000th time. And here's Darius Foster. So a 3-U after a 1-3 was overturned. This dude's losing his hat is just reminding me of. I tried to do that when I was in minor leagues or when I was in the little leagues, and my mom was not happy of how dirty my hat was after the game, my one pitching appearance. Foster takes the first pitch, strike. I'm going to stop mentioning it because it happens almost every time. He's got to just fasten it down some. I don't know why it keeps falling off. His forward momentum is allowing it to blow off. There's really nothing else to say. Keeps it on there. Cockeyed a little bit, though. Like Fernando Rodney. 1-1.
K-Rod.
Now that's Francisco Rodriguez.
Oh, man.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
My poor baseball knowledge compared to yours is really showing.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not mad. K-Rod, though, the goggles. See, the goggles are K-Rod.
See, that I recall.
Yeah. I remember when he was on the Mets. They got him in 2010. He walked in Mariano Rivera with the bases loaded. 1-2 here from hatless Sage Dobbs. Like shoeless Joe Jackson. 1-2. Long hold. The pitch. Outside. I mean, dude, just leave it on the ground. It's going to fall off again.
It's really taken over the storyline of the game. But it's really serving him well. I mean, he hasn't given up any kind of base runners yet to the big train.
Yeah, maybe it's a distraction. You should write that in your game story. Loses it. Foster fouls it off. Does a skip and a jump off the cutout. Just keeps I mean, it's happened, I want to say, on 95% of the pitches he's thrown in this outing. And a very poor offensive effort from the big train. And it is something funny to watch. .55, Sage Dobbs out of Richmond. Had a couple sizes too big. 2-2 here to Darius Foster. We'll see what he does here. Quick pitch. Foster greets him with a rope to second base. Vandenberg has it. And the side is retired. So, Big Train go down quietly in the top of the sixth. End is near here on Big Train TV. God's going to cut you down playing on the speakers. That means Lockdown is in the game. Zach Locke takes over on the mound at a Long Beach State. Been one of the more steady arms in the bullpen for Sal Colangelo. Missed about a week or so of action, but back here and ready for the stretch run and in here for the potential last inning of today's first game. Of course, the next game will start after this. And Dylan Spilko, you're in for the stretch run in this ball game.
Unfortunately, I can't make the second game. I got to do my real writing job, however.
Ben will take over.
Ben will take over. But as always, it's a pleasure, Tyler. It's always a pleasure to be in the booth.
Good to have you in here. You know, you probably do better than anyone else up here, besides Ben, of course, because it's his actual job. But you'd do better than anyone else that we potentially would send up here or gunning for your position. High foul ball, not a play. Alex Rosen, the leadoff hitter. Kenny Bell due up next, and then Kyle Schmalewski at the top of the order here in the 6th. Big Train due to send up the middle of the order, Thomas, Nip, and Schmalewski. Great. That's how the cards have fallen in this game, and great if you want to come back. Locke misses a little bit outside and low. 2-1. It's been a struggle offensively tonight for the Big Train. They haven't had a hit since the 4th. Riley Johnson's single was the last time that someone had a hit in an inning. And Locke has got a 3-1 count to work with. Locke to the windup. He delivers the pitch. Swing and a miss. Good pitch there from Zach Locke. Blows away Alex Rosen. And the count runs full. Payoff pitch from Zach Locke. He delivers. Outside, ball 4, and Rosen is aboard to lead off this inning.
The center fielder from Southeastern Louisiana, number 18.
Southeastern Louisiana College member Kenny Bell. The 9-hole hitter today is on with is up with a runner on. Pitch from Locke. Strike. Pours in there. We'll see who gets the bottom of the 7th, or top of the 7th, excuse me. All DC had to do to beat the Bethesda was have a home game at the Bethesda ballpark. Squaring to punt and running up for it, but missing it is Kenny Bell, and it's 1-1.
And Zach Locke has had an up and down season this year, so you're really just looking for him to have a solid inning with the Big Train, trailing by 4, and what is likely going to be a loss.
And Locke has benefited some pretty good luck this year. ERA, I believe it's a shade under 3 or around there. Bell attacks, sends it way in the air. Schmalewski calling for it, under it, in the infield, makes the catch, drifts on him a little bit, and that's out number 1.
The right fielder, number 2, from Lafayette, Kyle Schmalewski.
So here's Kyle Schmalewski, number 2. He's been on base twice today in his 3 ABs. A single, a walk, and a fly out. Zach Locke would love a ground ball here. Been held in check quite a bit tonight after 14 runs last night for the Big Train. 14-run outburst, especially 4 in the final inning. Offense not the name of the game. Runner goes, near eye, double clutches the throw, still on the money, but safe at second base is Alex Rosen. So not able to get 3 runners caught in the same game. And a runner in scoring position for Schmalewski with 2 outs, or with 1 out. Once again, Tyler Gallo and Dylan Spilko here with you on Big Train TV for the final couple of innings in this game. Ben Bobek and I will be on the call for the second game. Ben taking over for play-by-play. It's outside ball 1. Ball 3, 3-0. Sun is getting a little bit more intense here at Povich. Zach Locke looking to just find the zone here. And he does not. Ball 4, double play back in order for Donovan Frere. Frere struck out twice and grounded out. Would love the latter of that, but I don't think Zach Locke would mind strike out here as well. Locke has gotten himself into dangerous situations this year and then found a way to get out of them. I recall a game at Silver Spring where he loaded the bases with just 1 out, and he got out of it to send it to extras. Frere lifts one to the opposite field. No one over there. That might fall in, and it's a foul ball. That spelled danger for the Big Train, but instead it's just a strike, 0-1. Bethesda has not lost to the Grays this season. Are the last team that needs to defeat the Big Train to have their roulette card filled, or their bingo card filled for every team beating them at least once. Team they've had the most trouble against is the Giants, though. 4-3 to finish the year against them in their 7 games. Locke delivers. Misses outside. A team that could very well be challenging them for the crown in this league. We'll see who the opening round matchup is for the Big Train. Of course, the opening series, 3-6 and 4-5, as Freyer is hit with the pitch and loads the bases. But we'll see who the Big Train play in the first round. If matchups hold, I believe they could probably play. They would probably play Lorton, the Braves, and it would be home away home with Lorton in the postseason. Anything can happen in this league goes. 3-6 and 4-5 play each other in a 1-game set in the first round. Locke misses 1-0, and then it's the Big Train versus the highest remaining seed, and then whoever the 2 seed ends up being versus the lowest remaining seed. And I believe Alexandria and Gaithersburg are still battling for that. So it's a chance to play spoilers tomorrow, I guess, for Alexandria. Big Train have already spoiled the hearts of every other team in this league by winning the number 1 seed outright. 1-1 here to Patrick Vandenberg, who's been on base all 3 times he's been up today. 1 for 1 with a walk and hit by pitch. 1-1 to him. Outside, 2-1. Zach Locke has the bases loaded, on verge of surrendering a run here that would spell pretty much the end for the Big Train in this game. If he can keep it still close, maybe there's a chance for the Big Train to come back in this one. They're no stranger to putting together big innings. Vandenberg fouls it off, 2-2. So they'll do it one more time on 2-2. Zach Locke in search of a strikeout here. Capital K in his last name. 2-2 to Locke. From Locke. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And there's that strikeout he was looking for. And now the inning, he can breathe a little bit more of a sigh of relief here. Burt Camper coming up with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
That was a nice pitch to bounce back for Zach Locke, getting that strikeout to put 2 outs on the board. And if he wants to save his individual ERA, he's going to have to collect this 3rd out.
Camper's no tough out. Struck out, walked, and hit by pitch today. Searching for the first of that line, though, is Zach Locke, and potentially a fly out or a ground ball. First pitch, swing and a miss by Burt Camper. Strike 1.
And after loading the bases, Locke has really settled in on the mound.
So what is he's locked in, you want to say?
Yeah, I would say he's very much locked in right now.
With the bases loaded, you just got to put those runners out of your head and go to work. Jonathan DeMarte, member of Team Israel, told us that you're just searching any way to get that first out, because then you can breathe a little bit more, especially when the bases are loaded with nobody out. DeMarte been in that situation before. We also spoke to Alex Katz. You can find both of those interviews from Team Israel on our YouTube. Tremendous that we got them in the booth as there's ball 2 from Locke, 2-1. You can also find highlights and player interviews from Big Train. Of course, full games. If you missed any of the action, we're here for the stretch run. Playoffs begin in a couple of days. 2-1 from Locke. Catches the zone for a strike, and 2-2 with 2 outs. Huge strikeout to get for Zach Locke if he could. Has the ball in his hand, waiting for the sign from Danny Neary, gets it. Comes set up at the face. Here's the pitch from Locke. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and he gets out of the bases loaded and 1 out situation. And the Big Train have some work to do when they come back here on Big Train TV.
1 in 10,000 children are born with a brain malformation known as Dandy-Walker syndrome. Dandy-Walker can cause enlargement of the skull, lack of muscle control, and other developmental challenges. More research is needed, but we do know that early therapy helps many live healthier, fuller lives. 1 in 10,000 may not seem like a lot unless your child is the one. Learn more, find help, and help others. Visit dandy-walker.org.
Frank Kraska, the new pitcher, and he's on to hold it now. Close this game down as Matt Thomas will lead off. Middle of the order, 2 up for the big train, Thomas, Nip, and Schmalewski, as they try to mount a 4-run comeback here in this first game of a twine night doubleheader. Dylan, the last time you were in the booth, big train mounted a 7-run comeback. This one just 4, but apparently you're not feeling it tonight.
No, not really feeling it. Only 4 hits for the big train, and none since the 4th inning, and only 3 runs in those first 2 innings. So really nothing's been working for the big train's offense. But hey, you never know.
Up and in and strike, 1-1 to Matt Thomas. Matt Thomas has had some adverse reactions to Mitch Evans all game. I'm there with you, partner. He's a long conversation with Mitch Evans right now. Once again, this could be the final inning for the big train as it's inside. 2-1. Thomas looks back at him. He's like, that's where that last pitch was. So what do I got to do to get a 3-0 count? Instead, it's 2-1 from Frank Kraska. Thomas gets a pitch inside, ball 3, and I think that was the same spot too. I really just don't know. I might as well just keep my mouth shut. Frank Kraska, senior from Lafayette, Gibsonia, Pennsylvania native, near the Pittsburgh area. There's ball 4, and Thomas is aboard, and hey, that's how you start. Got to get a runner on. Thomas is aboard for Grant Nip.
And now you have a chance to really do something with Grant Nip up. He hasn't had a hit today, but now's a better time than any for the big train to get going on offense.
Absolutely, and hoping to close this thing out here in the top of the 7th inning. Zach Locke weaved out of danger in the last inning. The Houdini legend himself. Nip hits one towards third, slowly hit, and it gets by and booted. So everybody is safe. That might be an error. We'll have to see how that's scored. Yes, and it is. It goes as an error on the third baseman, Evan Smith. And hey, Dylan, 2 runners are on now.
Yeah, all of a sudden they have a chance to get something going. I mean, the margin is 4, but runners on first and second, nobody out. It's very promising.
Very promising and very probable. Schmalewski, no stranger to the clutch moment during this season. Hoping to do more of that here. First pitch from Kraska. Inside, ball 1. Big trainer not in line to walk things off. But one swing could make it a much more closer game. Schmalewski takes one high. And 2-0. And now Kraska is on verge of loading the bases with nobody out. Kraska's 2-0 pitch. He delivers. There's a strike, 2-1. Schmalewski, I don't think liked that call.
And this is a really big pitch upcoming. It either makes it 2-2 or 3-1 in the count. And a 3-1 count really puts the big train in the driver's seat in this inning.
2-1. Would love that 3-1 count. Misses way outside, and there's that driver's seat count you were talking about.
And the big train have really struggled to hit the ball. I give Schmalewski the green light at this at bat.
So they've changed Grant Nips to a hit. So that's their first hit since the 4th inning. Schmalewski hits one high in the air. Under it is Vandenberg at second base. Waves the people off. Makes the catch. And there's out number 1. So a single for Grant Nip is your first hit since the 4th inning. And there's one out. Trevor Doyle, no stranger as well to getting some huge runs in. Good spot for his first home run of the season. First as a big train as well.
And that out may seem very detrimental to the big train's comeback efforts, but they really needed something going there offensively with 2 runners on. A favorable 3-1 count. I agree with the chance to give Schmalewski the hit, the green light to go swing, but didn't end in the favor of the big train that time.
Outside ball 1, and he got a pitch to hit too, just was a little bit under it. You know, if he had squared it up, that could have potentially made it a 7-6 ball game. But instead we stand with 1 out and a 7-3 score. Runner on second is Matt Thomas. Runner at first is Grant Nip. Batter at the plate is Trevor Doyle. Torres is in the on-deck circle. Kraska looks back a couple times towards Thomas. Holds and delivers. Strike, 1-1. Second game will start more or less than 30 minutes after the game. This one, first game. Doyle searching for another signature moment this season. Up and outside, 2-1. Big Train fans haven't had much to cheer about in today's game. It's been a while since they've scored even a run, let alone that first hit since the fourth. Doyle hits one up the middle, could be two. Vandenberg fields second for one. Doyle churning down the line, and it gets away, and that'll get a runner in to score. So not able to turn that two, and it's a save situation now as the score runs to 7-4. Big Train move a little bit closer, but erased a runner, and 2 outs with Keith Torres coming up.
Sacramento State, number 9, Keith Torres.
So that's going to be a fielder's choice there, 4-6-3, but an error that allows him to reach the base. Error on the shortstop. Thomas in to score. First pitch to Torres taken for a strike. 0-1. Erased at second is Grant Knipp. And Torres standing as the last batter for the Big Train as Kraska tries to close things down. They check on the runner first. He's not going anywhere. Oh, and 1. Torres up the middle. That's going to get through for a base hit. So keep on moving the train as it's 7-4. And this game-tying run comes up to the plate in Christian Martin.
Second baseman from Virginia Tech. Number
So there's
6,
a less disputed single for you. Doyle moves up to second. Torres to first on the single. And Christian Martin now stands as the last out. But in search of his first real signature moment as a Big Train. Great at-bat song, though. Fans wanting something to happen here. Christian Martin has had a penchant for getting on base this year. If he keeps the line moving, Danny Neary would be due up next. But 2 outs. One 1-0. Watches for a ball, 2-0. And if he walks him, bases would be loaded for Danny Neary, who has hit a home run this season. And man, a grand slam in that situation. Oh boy. That would bring the house down. That would populate the Pove. Kraska getting some words of encouragement from his catcher, Burt Camper. Big Train just searching for that all-important 5th run or maybe even more. Martin held homerless this season thus far. We've seen him have some pop in BP, though. Not BP. Outside 3-0 and on verge of walking the bases loaded is Kraska. Big Train finding their offensive stroke all of a sudden. See if Kraska's pitch is right down the pipe. And there's a strike. It is 3-1. Now to Christian Martin. Here's the pitch. Up and outside. Ball 4. And the bases are loaded. And the lead run is at the plate. And Danny Neary.
Wouldn't it be something if Danny Neary magically smashed home a grand slam for a walk-off victory? Wouldn't be a walk-off victory because the Big Train. Yes, it's a different form of. Well, it wouldn't be really a walk-off. It would still be the top of the inning. However, obviously that would be the best case. Yes, just a big time.
See if it's a new pitcher. Reggie Terry out there to talk to Kraska as he just looks for this final out. Bases loaded. Here in the top of the 7th. Big Train already have a run across, but one swing could give them the lead. And a guy that has been off a little bit recently did drive in 2 of the 4 runs the Big Train have scored today. He is the only ribeye stakes of the evening. coming up in a huge spot. Kraska didn't really want any part of Christian Martin, I guess, in that at bat, but now he's going after Danny Nerai. It's under pressure plays. Nerai ready to take the first pitch. Kraska holds, comes set, hands at the belt. He delivers first pitch. Strike one, and it's 0-1. Things are a bit quiet here at Povich Field. You still get some general stadium chatter, but nothing in one to Nerai. Watches it, and that's strike two. And the big trainer down to their final strike. Bases loaded. 2 outs, 0-2 to Danny Nerai. Kraska has bent, allowed a run in this inning. Has the bases loaded. Keith Torres claps in approval towards Danny Nerai, hoping to bring it home here. Here's the pitch. Way outside, ball one.
Still a 1-2 count. Nerai is going to have to masterfully work his way out of this jam.
Nerai back against the wall here with a 1-2 count and 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Big Train not the home team in this game. Pitch outside, ball 2. Good eye at the plate. And now you run the risk of potentially walking in the 5th run if you're Frank Kraska. And coming up next, it's not getting any easier. Riley Johnson due up. And, of course, Darius Foster. 2 guys that put the ball in play or just walk. 2-2 to Danny Nerai. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and the ball game is over. So, Kraska bends but does not break, allows the one